Sun sinks slow, but the night's still young. Feel the beat of the island drum. One last chance for a story to tell. And last shot bar where legends dwell. This is your last shot, make it count. Raise your glass, turn the night around. Laugh aloud, lights aglow. At last shot bar, anything goes. Anything goes. Palm trees sway as the crowd rolls in. A spark in the air, let the night begin. Flip a coin, take a chance, don't delay. At last shot bar, it's your getaway. One step closer to the stars. Feel alive right where you are. This is your last shot, make it count. Raise your glass, turn the night around. Laugh aloud, lights aglow. At last shot bar, anything goes. Anything goes. Dive into the rhythm, dance on the breeze. Feel the island spirit, let it set you free. The clock says late, but who's keeping time? At last shot bar, it's always prime. It's always prime. This is just a shot, make it count. Raise your glass, turn the night around. Laugh aloud, lights aglow. At last shot bar, anything goes. Anything goes. Anything goes.
If you see something, say something, and stay anonymous. Call Crime Stoppers at 234-7272 or submit a tip online at nmicrimestoppers.com. No names, no caller ID, no recordings, just your info. And if your tip leads to an arrest, you could earn up to $1,000 in cash. Your tips have helped take hundreds of criminals off the streets in the NMI. It works because of you. Crime Stoppers, we want your information, not your name. PHI is your local pharmacy serving customers in Cagman, Garapan, and Dandan since 1996. Shop PHI Pharmacy for all your prescriptions, and we even offer a large line of multivitamin supplements. Our Dandan location is open weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 4 on weekends. Or visit our Garapan and Cagman locations weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 1 on Saturdays. Check us out online at phipharmacy.com or follow us on Facebook. PHI is a locally owned independent community Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care. After Super Typhoon Sinlaku, recovery isn't just about rebuilding homes and clearing debris. It's about taking care of each other. It's normal to feel stress, fear, or sadness during recovery. Healing isn't a straight path. Take it one day at a time. Acknowledge your feelings. Stay connected with family and neighbors. Build small daily routines. And if it gets overwhelming, reach out. Seeking support is a sign of strength. NM Posse's PIME program is here for CNMI residents. Call 670-235-7273 or 670-789-6021 or visit nmposse.org. Together we rebuild, and together we heal. You are stronger than the storm. A message from NM Posse's PIME program, paid for by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche says the Trump administration is scrapping its $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund. Meanwhile, President Trump's pick for his next Director of National Intelligence is drawing bipartisan criticism. Sagar Meghani reports it hit many as a surprise.
The president has tabbed federal housing regulator Bill Pulte to replace Tulsi Gabbard, who resigned last month. On Capitol Hill, even Republicans questioned Pulte's national security or intelligence background.
I see no evidence of any qualifications for that job.
Texas Republican John Cornyn's on the Senate Intelligence Committee, where Chairman Tom Cotton was about as succinct.
I have no observations on the matter.
Democrat Chris Coons does.
I think it is stunning.
Noting Pulte's become a Trump attack dog of sorts, using his perch to accuse perceived Trump enemies of mortgage fraud.
Proven himself willing to act as a Trump political puppet.
Top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer says the appointment makes clear the president's looking for loyalty over protecting America. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Iranian state media says Tehran stopped communicating with mediators after Israel threatened to bomb Beirut in its fight against the Lebanese militia Hezbollah. Malak Harb reports Israeli drone strikes on southern Lebanon killed 11 today.
The Israeli strikes in Lebanon, as well as attacks by the Iranian-backed militant group in northern Israel on Tuesday, come in an ongoing military escalation, with Israeli forces recently making their deepest incursion to Lebanon in 26 years, and Hezbollah's use of hard-to-detect fiber-optic drones that has been deadly for the Israeli military.
Oil prices rose again, Brent crude settling at $96 per barrel. U.S. gasoline prices eased another 3 cents. On Wall Street, small gains for the S&P and the NASDAQ. The Dow rose 228 points. This is AP News. A busy primary day. Julie Walker has a roundup.
New Jersey, Montana, Iowa, New Mexico, South Dakota, California. There is a lot to watch. The LA mayoral race and the California governor primary, with around 60 candidates, are the headliners. But don't expect timely declarations there. Beyond the headliners, the California primary is the first test of the Democrats' House gerrymander in response to President Trump's gerrymandering war that began in Texas. Beyond Cali, Iowa Democrats settle a competitive Senate primary. New Jersey Dems will pick a challenger against AWOL Republican Tom Keene, and New Mexico Dems will choose a nominee in the race to replace the outgoing governor. The Democratic nominee will be the favorite in November, and in Maine, which holds a primary next week, the Graham-Plattner fallout continues. I'm Julie Walker.
The latest at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
If you think girls and women's equality matter, stand up. If girls and women's sports matter, and you want your daughters to have the same opportunity you had, stand up. If you know that it isn't fair or safe to allow males to compete in girls' sports because it's, well, obvious, stand up. Don't be cowed by people who call you a bigot. You're not a bigot. Don't let men tell us how to be good girls. Don't let others tell you you just need to be quiet. Sit down. Be nice. It's not nice to further a lie. It's not mean to believe in women's equality. We deserve our own sports, privacy, fairness, safety. We deserve a chance to compete and win. So don't be nice. Don't be careful. Be honest. Be brave. Fight for women. We've come too far to give up now.
And if you agree with that, stand up and stand with us.
Alarm clock bark, sky still gray, radio clicks on, static haze. Good morning, Marianas, in my face. Brad yelling, wake up, Saipan, no escape. Coffee burns my lip, he laughs in my kitchen. Talks like he knows every bruise that I am in. Good morning, Marianas. Rise up, Saipan. Hearts on the harbor, headlines in his hand. Good morning, Marianas. Live from the reef to the ridge. Bread with the weather and a dare on the bridge. Traffic on Beach Road.
It took like 3 minutes for the camera to get working.
He jokes about rain and unpaid rent. Says call the show, tell me what you regret. Then plays our song like a second chance bet. He says say your name, we say it like a prayer. Through busted speakers, we are almost there. Good morning, Marianas. Rise up, Saipan. Shacks and condos, all sing with the fan. Good morning, Marianas. Old scars, new daylight. Brad talks nonsense, somehow gets it right. Who is this voice in my cracked dashboard? Why does it feel like he is keeping score of every tired island soul dragged out of bed? Every maybe I will make it spinning in my head. Good morning, Marianas. Rise up, Saipan. Bad roads, good stories, all part of the plan. Good morning, Marianas. Yeah, shout it again. Brad says you are awake, so start living it then.
Good morning, Marianas. Holy smokes. It is 7:46 in the morning on Wednesday. It is hump day, and we are ready for you. My goodness, what a day, what a week, what a past few days. There's so much going on in the news out here in the NMI, and we've got all of it for you. But we are going to get started pretty right much out of the gun. We're going to be getting the weather, but I want to say good morning to you, Caleb, all the way out there. Great to see you too. Saying very hot today, and it's so it's not really good morning, but hey, Wednesday, happy Wednesday to you all. Hey, it's better than snow. I mean, it would not be good if it was snowing here. We'd have a big story that would be breaking news. Would it be snowflaking news? Okay, forget it. Puns are terrible. Joshua Brazel in the house. Great to see you. Oh my God, is that Anna Lee is with us this morning? Good morning. It is so great to see you. Oh man, that reminds me, I've got to call you later because I have an idea for you later. Jackie Lou, all the way from Seattle, from the PN Dubs. Great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for tuning in. Eric Moptis, my veteran brother. Hey man, it was so great to see you yesterday. Anyway, Eric says, good Wednesday morning, Brad, Marianas, and everyone listening and to this wonderful station. Have a blessed and safe day. Take care, and God bless you and your family always. Man, I'll tell you what, Eric, it is so great to see you, but it was great. You know, I did not know that that was your son yesterday when we met him over there at the governor's office. I just knew that this is a fine young man, but now I totally understand why, because he's got great parents. You raised a heck of a son, a young Marine who's over here in the Marianas, who is an active participant in everything that we end up doing with Project Buddy Check 670 and just within the community as a whole. He's a great kid, and the apple did not fall far from that tree. Great job. You got to be happy about that. I'd be happy. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm happy every Wednesday because that's usually when we get to hear from the Duke of Doppler, the Prince of Precipitation, the let's keep it going, the King of Cumulus Clouds.
King of small talk.
Yeah, there he is. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Weather out there. And if you love the weather, you got to love Landon. If you don't, you got to blame Brandon. That's how we end up doing it over here in the Marianas. Anyway, Landon Idlet from the Eye of the Storm, the Ides of March. Okay, I mean, how many more do we got? We've got too many.
I don't know, but there's probably several more you can get on this these documents, these papers. I don't know. It's endless.
It is. Just like the weather itself. Anyway, it's great to see you. I feel like, did we not link up last week? I think that may have been a Brad issue.
We did. I feel like it was Thursday.
Oh yeah, maybe it was the day after. Okay.
Everything just runs together. Every day, every week, every day, everything just runs together. It's like a blur. It feels like it's been a year since I was out there in Saipan. It was like half a month ago.
Yeah, it was not all that long ago. And well, now that's where we're at. Anyway, man, I'll tell you what, we had some interesting weather. It is hot and it's windy, but also like yesterday, I don't know, was there anything special that happened yesterday? Because it felt particularly hot early in the morning. Like I felt smoked.
Yeah, and I'm getting those reports from a lot of people that it's been so hot out there. And I sent out this regional weather outlook yesterday. And of course, you see right there in the smack middle of the screen, dry. And so the Weather Service, we just coordinated with the Department of Agriculture and Forestry here on Guam to suspend the fire weather season and their actions at the Forestry Department to monitor and prevent wildfire, any kind of mitigative actions. And so they suspended that on June 1st as we start to wrap up the dry season, even though we're 30 inches of rain above normal for this time of the year. So it's not been dry by any means, but I got an immediate response from Forestry about 5 minutes after I sent out these emails. And they said, we are surprised to see this email. It's so dry out there. And I said, well, here's the reality of it. This is going to be the dry season that we never had this year. We could see about 7, maybe 10 days of dry weather conditions. You can't rule out the typical trade wind, spotty shower, but these aren't going to be soakers. So it's going to be a very dry pattern across the region, at least through the weekend. There is a caveat that we do have light winds across the area right now. And of course, when we have the light winds, that's where we're susceptible to the daytime island heating effect, the daytime convection. So it might be more so of an issue for Guam than it is for Rota-Tinian and Saipan, since we have larger land area for that daytime convection. But when we have these light winds, you have the showers and thunderstorms develop over or very near the island. But it does look like there's going to be just enough wind right around Saipan and Tinian to keep pushing anything offshore. So if there's going to be any kind of island effect convection off of Saipan and Tinian, it's going to be west of the islands over the coastal waters. But I think it's just overall too dry out there. There's just not much to work with as far as moisture. So it's going to be a dry pattern. It's going to be a lot more sunshine, fewer clouds, and therefore much warmer during the daytime hours. And so that's going to be the theme through the rest of the week. But going down to the south, we do have that prevailing near equatorial trough that zips on from Palau across Micronesia to the Marshall Islands, generating quite a bit of weather across central Micronesia, eastern Micronesia, and the Marshall Islands. That will probably spawn a couple of trade wind or tropical disturbances. None of those we're not concerned about any kind of tropical weather development at this time with any of those disturbances. And keep in mind, we have about 100 and 110 tropical disturbances in a given year, but only 30 or 40 of those develop into tropical cyclones. So at the Saipan Airport, light winds out of the east about 3 to 5 miles per hour. We'll probably see those bump up just a little bit as we go through the daytime hours. So I think it's just going to be enough wind to push off any kind of clouds that develop over the islands. and keep them offshore for any kind of rainfall potential. We are still watching that tropical storm Jangmi. That was the one developing near Yap and Palau last week. It zipped on through the Philippine Sea. It's now brushing up across southern Japan and making a pass over Japan. So if you're traveling to Japan today, you might have some flight issues. So check your flight information very closely. If you're flying back from Japan, you might have some flight issues today as that zips off along Kyoto, Osaka, Nagoya, all the way up to Tokyo, Narita area. That's going to be the theme for the day: showers, thunderstorms, and strong gusty winds. Looking ahead in the longer range, it's going to be a very beautiful week ahead. But the Climate Prediction Center do have us in an elevated risk for tropical cyclones going into the week of June 10th and then onward into the week of June 17th. I'm not quite seeing the potential there for the week of June 10th. I think they're a little bit earlier with that prognosis, but there are a little bit of signal that we could have some tropical development in the region, particularly to our east. And that's with that very weak, disturbed, unsettled pattern across Micronesia. Again, there's nothing out there, but just some of the longer range models do anticipate some higher possibilities of tropical cyclone development. But again, no credible threat at this time. Something we'll be watching about. If we do see something emerge, we'll be talking about it extensively. But for now, beautiful weather. It will be warm out there, so make sure you have your windows open for what little breeze you have out there. The winds are going to be light now through the weekend, so not much wind to work with. So make sure you stay hydrated, stay cool. Don't overexpose yourself, overwork yourself in the daytime sunlight. Make sure you take breaks, especially for the ongoing recovery and response efforts. There is a little circulation right here, just east of Saipan and Tinian. That's going to be making its way over the CNMI probably this afternoon, evening. Maybe you could see a few more showers come over the island with this area. But again, this is just a very weak circulation. May give you a few more clouds as it comes over. Hopefully it will be this afternoon versus overnight. That way you can get some of those shady clouds. But this is all going to be moving generally westward today. But again, this is a very weak circulation. We're going to see winds maybe 5 to 10 miles per hour. You're not even going to tell it's a circulation except looking at the geostationary satellite imagery. Not much to see on our Himalayan visible satellite, but on the water vapor, we're talking about Tut season. That's the tropical upper tropospheric trough. That's typically running from May through September. It's an upper level disturbance. And when these features line up with a disturbance at the surface or a surface trough, they can either enhance weather conditions or inhibit. And it depends on where they're stacked vertically in the atmosphere. If they're lined up just right, you can get some significant rainfall, showers, and thunderstorms with quite a bit of lightning. Right now, that Tut cell is over by Wake Island. It's starting to retreat back into the Central Pacific, but this area right here near the Marianas, very dry air, and that's what we're dealing with right now. So any showers, they'll be light, they'll be brief, and move right on by without any kind of flood potential or much soaking rainfall relief. So that's going to be the theme now and through the weekend.
Wow. Oh, geez, I have my volume all the way down. I got the fan blowing over there. That's why. But you know,
You need the fan.
It is. In fact, it's like, yeah, I'm your biggest fan. It is my biggest fan. It's a pretty big fan over there. But, you know, looking at the weather right now, you'd almost not believe what we got hit with. But yesterday, I'm telling you, it was hot. But it wasn't just hot. Like, it was steal your will to live kind of hot. I was watching people just standing in place with sweat drops just going straight down their face. Folks, I mean, they were working hard over at the Paseo de Marianas yesterday for the MVA's cleanup. But man, I'm telling you, like, people were sweating way more than what I would normally see for people who are a little exasperated. And I was robbed of my will to live before I went over to the Crown Plaza and got myself a nice lemonade. They have freshly squeezed lemonade. Have you had that over there?
You know, I've not had it in a while, and I've not had it at the Crown, so I need to chat with Glenn next time I'm up there and inquire about that.
You do.
Is it like real fresh squeezed or the powdered fresh squeezed?
No, I could see the veins popping on their forearms as they were just, it was really great stuff at the marketplace right inside, right there by the lobby. You know what they also have? They have some good stuff. Oh, where is he going? He went to go get some lemons. We got some lemonade.
I got fresh squeezed also.
Oh, it doesn't look. It looks a little brown for calamansi.
You know, I'm
brown sugar.
It's a lot browner than what I had, so I'm gonna try it out today. The price is right. I just hope the taste is right too.
I see. Wait, I see November on there. Is that the expiration from last November or this coming November?
Gosh, let's see. Where did you see November?
I said.
Oh, that's net ounces, net 25
Oh, really?
ounces. November 28, 2026. So I'm good.
Nice. There you go.
I have a couple weeks to just drink it. I mean, do you add water or just drink it?
I don't know. What does it say? It says, does it say lime? Limeade or something like that? I saw calamansi. They call it a lime.
And squeeze calamansi, Philippine lime concentrate.
No,
Also, it's concentrate, so I can just drink it right off as is.
Yeah, in fact, if you're having difficulty thinking, that'll help you, is what I hear. Concentrate.
Every day.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so that's it. So basically dry weather, nothing crazy on the wind front, a light circulation that we won't even notice. I mean, will we even see it? Like, will the clouds be looking in like they're in a different direction? At least that'll be something fun to look at.
Not really. I mean, we see these weak circulations. They come through the area during like shear line passages in the dry season, surface troughs. They're weakly embedded in some old boundaries. And so again, this is a very weak circulation, not much weather with it. You'll see a little bit of shower coverage as this all moves over, but you're not going to see any kind of wind changes as far as speed. You might get a little bit of a northeasterly wind versus an east wind. So this is nothing that you would even notice on the ground, but hopefully we'll get a few more clouds over you all, get some more cloud coverage and maybe some spotty showers just to cool things down this afternoon and evening.
Wow, that was very quick on the arrow on there. I know you got like the telestrator there like John Madden, but you did that around and then all of a sudden, yeah, oh, it ends in an arrow. That's why. That's how that's works. Very cool.
It's magic.
There we go. Well, thanks for bringing the magic, Landon. I hope everything's great over there for all of you guys over there. But it is great to know that we have a nice few days ahead of us. Maybe, is it a couple weeks ahead of us that are nice?
Don't call us on the phone. Our phone lines are down, so we're working on getting that restored. So, but if you do need to reach out to us, send us an email or contact us via our webpage. But yeah, our phone lines are down. Hopefully that's going to be restored. But weather-wise, we are in fantastic shape.
You know, we have not talked about this for a while because we've been doing so much for storm recovery, but let's not get totally off the Tower of Humanity train. I know you guys got a lot of stuff coming up this year, and this September is going to be a special one.
Yeah, we're going to have a big project coming up in September. And so I'm actually talking to Lori early this morning. I'm talking to FEMA. I'm working on getting them involved and maybe a couple of other organizations, but we're going to be focusing on two big themes with our September project. This is going to be a recognizing the 25th anniversary of 9/11 and all the lives lost. So we're going to be building the Twin Towers. This will be a repeat of our 2023 project, but those towers were scaled to 17 feet. This one's going to be scaled much larger for the 25th anniversary. So we're going to be lighting it up. It's going to be at Micronesia Mall because we need that extra airspace that the center court at the Micronesia Mall affords us, as well as the floor space. So it's going to be a huge project, our biggest of all of them so far, with over 110,000 blocks.
Wow.
So it's going to be big. We're working on several organizations, but we're focusing on Hunger Action Month. That's going to be feeding children in need across Guam and the Sinai and Palau, as well as partnering with other food drives and charities. But then also National Preparedness Month, and that is, both of those are the month of September. So we're going to have a lot of causes. We're going to be focusing on disaster preparedness, awareness, and education outreach opportunities with organizations like Homeland Security, FEMA, American Red Cross, and so many more other organizations through the month of September. So it's going to be a big project. Got some calls later on today to work up some more organizations, but I'm going to be having a chat with FEMA External Affairs. She was just up there in Saipan when I was there 2 weeks ago. She's back in the States, but she's assisting us as well as lining up some organizations to help propagate this project. So it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I can't wait to have you down here. We break ground on August 29th, but we'll be going full speed ahead around, I think it's going to be Friday, September 4th, Saturday, September 5th. We have a proclamation signing with the governor's office on the 4th. We may have a big outreach awareness event on Saturday the 5th, as well as a Hunger Action Month rally. So if there's a weekend for you to be there, that would be a great weekend.
That's awesome. And, maybe this time around, we'll do it for a little bit of a longer haul. I'm looking forward to it. And the other part is I want to make sure, well, first of all, I got to meet the folks from the mall because we had a good hookup for Aganya. And so I was able to walk in before anybody was there. I got to make sure I got that same hookup for this place. Then the other one is set up some interviews throughout the week so that some notable Guam folks who aren't building can come in and, join the whole party. It'll be kind of fun.
Yep. And we'll definitely link you up with the mall folks. They're a great team. And so they're already working and coordinating with us on marketing, outreach videos, and all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy meeting the crew over there at the Micronesia Mall. They're ready to play ball.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. There's an event that happens. Oh, you know what it was? It was always Oktoberfest. So whenever we would try to do this and we would go there, we would have an Oktoberfest event over there in Tinian. This is not the same time this time, so it shouldn't conflict at all. And I can enjoy and I could be there for the whole weekend thing.
And we had a little bit of a scheduling change because with the typhoon changing some of the mall plans and stuff back in April and May, we're actually going to be disjointed from Be Heartfelt and the Cans for Humanity food drive competition. They're going to be pushed back 1 week later into October. It's going to be October 10th and 11th. That's Columbus Day holiday. So they're going to be doing that. But our towers will come down on September 21st because the mall does need center court for 2 separate events. I think that's going to be late the last weekend of September. So we're going to be having a different layout of sorts, but we're going to be focusing on Be Heartfelt, Homeland Security, possibly American Red Cross and other organizations through September. Towers come down on the 21st, and then we'll go full speed ahead with the Be Heartfelt and Cans for Humanity. That's going to be October 10th and 11th. So a lot of stuff going on. I'll be putting out the first press release on that event. I'm aiming for late July or very early August, and we'll have all those details. Also, another press release item, the Tropical Cyclone Outlook, initially publicly released tomorrow. That's actually being pushed back to Friday. So Friday, 9:30 a.m., we're going to have a press conference at the governor's office here on Guam. And so I think the media and the CNMI should be invited to that to join virtually. I'll be sending that link to you all through Miguel at Homeland Security Office once I get that from the governor's office here on Guam. But this is going to be a big release. We're going to have folks from my office talking about the ENSO, the El Nino coming, the Sinlaku storm assessment from Saipan and Tinian, as well as the outlook. We'll have people from Guam as well as CNMI speak, talk about ongoing recovery, response, and preparedness efforts. And I think we'll have FEMA there. I'm not sure who's going to be joining us from FEMA. I'm still waiting on that final determination. So it's going to be a big press conference, 9:30 Friday morning.
All right. Well, excited for it. Ready for it. Let's do it. All right. Well, all right. Well, great. Well, all right. Well, thanks. We are excited about all these things that are happening for you and to be a part of all these things. So thanks so much for keeping us up to date, not only with all the great work that you're doing in the community, but about making sure that we are up to date with what's going on with the weather side.
Yeah, and like I said, it's going to be beautiful weather now through the weekend, a little bit on the warmer side. But if we do see something emanating from Micronesia, we will make it very widely known. And so for now, don't worry, don't stress, don't panic. But when the time comes to be prepared and to be ready, we'll make it very known.
All right. Well, thanks so much. And thanks for being here with us this morning.
Absolutely. Good to see you again, Brad, and everybody else.
He says see you, but he can't actually see me. I'm going to have to normally.
I can't imagine you.
I know. So normally I need a second camera because I can't do the broadcast camera and this call camera. So I have the other camera that I could do, but I have it set up for the guest who's supposed to be on the way this morning. So And you're just going to have to envision like a drawing of me on the screen. But everybody else here, it looks like they can see me.
On the wall over there across the office from me, so I'm looking at the turtle.
Perfect. That's about how fast I'm moving these days anyway, so that's just fine. Just fine. All right, Landon, we're going to come up with some more titles for you, too. I love that Bruce Camacho was out there. He was like, oh, yes, the calmer of storms, first of his name. I'm like, yes, this is awesome. Just great.
Spine breaker.
That's it. All right. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon. We'll catch up with you.
All right. See y'all later.
All right. That's Landon Isla from the National Weather Service over there in Guam. He is the one who keeps us up to date with everything that's happening. The meteorologist, the meteorologist who gets us all going and letting us know what's happening. All right. Well, that was great, and we're thankful for that. Now we're going to take a real quick break. We're not going to go too far. In fact, I've got a sports update for you. You know, you wouldn't believe it. Some notable folks who you've known. She's famous, but now she's coming back. Can you believe it?
Fox Sports Update.
The NFL's reigning Defensive Player of the Year is on the move. The Cleveland Browns have traded defensive end Myles Garrett to the Los Angeles Rams. The Browns getting back Pro Bowl edge rusher Jared Verse, along with a 2027 first-round pick, a 2028 second-round pick, and a 2029 third-round pick. The Rams trying to bulk up their defense to make another run for the Super Bowl. This offseason, they acquired cornerbacks Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson from the Kansas City Chiefs. Garrett is coming off a historic season. He recorded 23 sacks, setting a new single-season NFL record. The 30-year-old posting a message to Cleveland fans on social media, thanking them for his 9 seasons. He said in part, quote, "I gave this city everything I had. I suited up and wore those colors with pride, and I don't regret a second of being part of this storied franchise." Another big trade taking place as the Philadelphia Eagles are sending wide receiver A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots for a 2028 first-round pick and a 2027 second-round pick. Brown's tenure in Philly saw 4 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons and a Super Bowl victory. The 4th round of the French Open wrapping up Monday, American Francis Tiafoe engaging in an over 5-hour match with Matteo Arnaldi, but Arnaldi emerged victorious. He moves on to the quarterfinals. On the women's side, top seed Aryna Sabalenka is moving on. She defeated Naomi Osaka in straight sets. And American Madison Keys dropped her match against Diana Schneider in 3 sets. And 23-time major champion Serena Williams announced Monday that she will be competing in doubles next week at the HSBC Championships at Queen's Club in London. This will be the 44-year-old's first professional tennis match since the 2022 U.S. Open. For more scores, stories, and features, go to foxsports.com. I'm Tony Genualdo.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
After Super Typhoon Sinlaku, recovery isn't just about rebuilding homes and clearing debris. It's about taking care of each other. It's normal to feel stress, fear, or sadness during recovery. Healing isn't a straight path. Take it one day at a time. Acknowledge your feelings. Stay connected with family and neighbors. Build small daily routines. And if it gets overwhelming, reach out. Seeking support is a sign of strength. NM Posse's PIME program is here for CNMI residents. Call 670-235-7273 or 670-789-6021 or visit nmposse.org. Together we rebuild, and together we heal. You are stronger than the storm. A message from NM Posse's PIME program, paid for by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Shiny smiles all around, where happiness is found. It's the little things that make it true. Shiny smiles start with you.
friends and neighbors, sons, fathers. They're Little League coaches and veterans. They're people who love this country. These are Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers. They are removing violent criminals from our streets and neighborhoods. It's dangerous and difficult work. But ICE has one mission: to make America a safer place to live. And that's what they're doing. This is law enforcement. This is ICE.
And by sunrise, she's marching with a sign in the air. Hashtags flying everywhere. Paint on her jacket, fire in her eyes. Truth gets louder when the camera's live. She says she's saving the world in 4K live. Different stage when it's neon night. By day she's preaching revolution plans. By night she's paying bills with OnlyFans. Cape in the closet, heels in her hand. Fighting the system and the algorithm. Having only friends ain't part of the plan. She funds the movement with OnlyFans. Glitter on boots, spotlight glow. Crowd goes wild at the midnight show. Clock strikes 12, persona flips. Justice and drama from painted lips. Megaphone power, trans so bold. Truth gets flexible when the story's sold. By day she's chanting through city halls. By night she's working behind paywalls. Hero or villain, depends who stands. She's got subscribers, not just fans. Saving the world one live stream scan. Fun in the fight with Two masks, one mission, split screen fame. Every cause needs a funding stream. Is it justice? Is it sand? Is it power in her hand? She's got a banner and a backup plan. Megaphone queen with a payment scan. Cape in the daylight, cash in hand. Truth goes viral when it's well lit and planned. Superhero in high demand. Powered by rage. And
Marianas, it is 8:17 in the morning here on Hump Day, and we've seen some pretty good Hump Days before, today being one of them. Anyway, there's a lot going on out here, and of course, Louisa is smart enough to know, the Google lady, about Buffalo, the first city to feature electric streetlights. Well, I'll tell you what, go all the way back to the Pan Am Exposition, and that's when President McKinley was shot, unfortunately. But it was one of the displays that they did. So you know how they have like Coachella, or they have like Burning Man. Well, they used to have classier versions instead of the trashy, get high and wasted, dance around naked versions. And they were called the Pan Am Expositions. And one of them was in Buffalo. And when they had it there, it was one of the first displays of electric light on such a grand scale. They would build all these temporary buildings that would be there just for these events. And people would go and be amazed at the future, all the technology that was all around. It was really a celebration of the successes of mankind out there back in the early 1900s. And in the one that was in Buffalo, in fact, there's still a structure that remains from that, but the whole waterfront around the Delaware Lake, Delaware Park area is where the Pan Am Exposition was. It was all lit up. Amazing. I wonder if we could find it real quick. I know that's not what we're going to talk about now. Pan Am Expo Buffalo. I want to say it was like 1908 or 1910. No, it was 1901. Oh my goodness. See, that's how much I remember from it. But it was amazing. Pan American Exposition was a World's Fair held in Buffalo, New York from May 1st to November 2nd. Oh my God, that's like the best taste of the Marianas or Flame Tree Art Festival ever. May 1st to November 2nd of 1901. Occupied 350 acres of land on the western edge of what is now Delaware Park, extending from Delaware Avenue to Elmwood Avenue. That's where I went to college. And northward to Great Arrow Avenue. It's remembered today primarily for being the location of the shooting of United States President William McKinley at the Temple of Music, September 6, 1901. Exposition was illuminated at night. Thomas Edison Incorporated filmed it during the day and pan of it at night. How about that? I know there are great photos of it at night, but the structures that were there, again, were amazing. All of them were demolished except for one, and that was the New York State Building, and because it's constructed of Vermont marble, and it's still there. You can still go and visit that building and go in there. It is amazing. It's no longer called the New York State Building. I can't remember what it might be, the McKinley Building now. They've named all kinds of things in that area after the president, but all the other ones were demolished. The Fair Japan, the Women's Building, the Temple of Music, the Stadium, the Service Building, the Mines, Forestry, and Graphic Arts Building, the Machinery and Transportation Building, the U.S. Government Building, the Ethnology Building, the Electricity Building, the Electric Tower, and the Agricultural Manufacturers and Liberal Arts Building. All of those have been demolished, but that was how it was supposed to be. They would build these grand structures and they would, break them down afterwards. But they were standing from May to November, and in November is when it starts getting really cold out there, and you're just on the verge, on the edge of winter weather out there, and that's it. Here, here's a picture of it. I want to be able to share this stuff with you too. Without having me all over the screen. Hold on, because that's way too big. Just look at this. This is one of those that's a temporary building. That was a building that was just temporarily there. Can you imagine what the world was like when that was a temporary building? The tents that were temporary at NMC were not nearly as grandiose as this facility. Look at that. That was a temporary facility. That could be the whole college. Amazing. Just amazing. Oh, geez. Amazing what the world used to be like. Anyway, that was in 1901. That was 125 years ago. That was a temporary structure 125 years ago. How great was our economy then? All right, had to sneeze a couple times there. A little rapid fire. But now look at the difference of there was not a lot of electric light back then. So these were all relatively low wattage compared to what you would get now, where it's almost like daytime when you brighten that up. But that is just amazing. Yeah, so cool that you brought that up, by the way. Whenever I get to talk a little bit about the history, Buffalo's a really interesting place. It used to be Really massive. Oh my God. Some of these other grand structures and the flags. This is one of those photos that I remember that I'm going to show you about what it really looked like. This, it's an actual video. I'm not going to play because I don't want to end up getting like another copyright ding or something like that. Oh no, come on. Let's just, this is like a news update from somebody talking about it. Oh, it's too bad. Never mind. I've got to get out of this. But the, excuse me, some of the photos of the expo were incredible. It's unlike anything you could just envision because of how majestic it was. Like this was what happened for places all over the mainland, stuff like that. Oh, hold on. And it was funny because it was in not really downtown Buffalo, but it was in Buffalo proper. Here, I'll at least put this on the screen. And this is not going to be the Buffalo segment. We're only just talking about this real quick. But I mean, look at all these little pictures on here. You know, we could open them up and show you like that's like, it's absolutely incredible how amazing this was to have this kind of a fairground. Yeah. I mean, look at all these things. Just amazing. Amazing. By the way, so Buffalo was one of the ritzy places back then. It was home to, I think, more millionaires than anywhere in the whole country, because that's where all the money was going through from all the shipment that was going by sea over on the Great Lakes. And Buffalo was the hub of where everything would go through. Caleb says, no copper thieves those days. Yeah, probably. All right. Well, anyway, that was not going to be the focus of what we were going to talk about today. But we are going to be talking about a couple other things that I think are really interesting. And I'm like, hey, let's jump into it. Although we can go down history lane for Buffalo all day. We won't, because I will lose all you guys. But the interesting things that are happening here in the Marianas. By the way, all these stories that we're going to talk about, you can find them on nminewsservice.com, the sweetest smelling website in the world. It is available for you, nminewsservice.com. And that's the same thing if you want to watch the show, but you're not like really a social media person. So you can watch it on our YouTube channel, and you can watch it on our website. Our website has the show. It's live being brought to you there. But we have a bunch of stories of things that happened. Some nice stories and also some holy cow, is this really happening kind of stuff. Well, let's talk about some of that. Well, we already talked about the weather. The big story, I think, happened the other day, and we couldn't really get to it because we were totally into Monday was a busy day for us and we didn't get to it. And then yesterday, the day that we would have talked about it, was the day that we were over there at Lau Lau and we had the technology issue. Wasn't really working for us. But so we had to kind of roll on the fly. But how about what's going on with the former governor back in the news? And by the way, there's like 4 stories that are happening at the same time that I think are really interesting. So you got the governor, former Governor Torres, is back in the news because the Attorney General's office is saying, hey, we don't like that deal that the guy who worked for us before gave the governor. So we got to scrap it. And so they're going back to the court to say, hey, let's fix this. Let's undo the deal that we did because we don't like it. I mean, there was, before the typhoon, there was a whole lot of hubbub about that, right? That was a big deal. Is this the one? No. I want to make sure. Oh, there it is. We're going to put it on the big screen for you. So basically, the Attorney General's office, there's a whole lot of history here, and I may not get all of it perfect, but I'm going to be pretty close to it. And so we'll get you up on this. What is that whole story about anyway, Brad? Well, all right, I'm going to tell you. So this is it. This is the actual deal that everybody's all worked up about. Let me make sure I got the right. No, not that one. Darn it. Is it this one? No. What I got you guys on? Hold on. Because this is boom. There we go. All right. So getting back to it, and I'm going to get you guys up here. I got to get back on the screen a little bit. There you go. All right. So this story goes all the way back to like 1903. Speaking of the Pan Am Exposition, it doesn't go back to 1903, but it's an old one. So this is about the CNMI going after the former governor about first class travel, and with his wife, the first lady, going places and doing things, right? So basically, after all the hullabaloo, they said, all right, look, first of all, somebody was prosecuting it, and then they disqualified them. Then they disqualified the special one that they flew in just for this. And then they finally said, all right, well, we're going to come at it with someone else altogether. And that someone else altogether came in and started working on this. And now that person who was working on it that they were talking about, the Assistant Attorney General, David Karch. So he goes in and becomes a part of this process. Now, part of the reason why all the other people who were involved got knocked out is because they said there wasn't enough separation between the Attorney General himself and the folks he oversees, so that he could possibly, there could be some contamination as far as like, you know, because they're saying that the Attorney General actually gave legal advice to the governor at that time. And so they needed separation. It deserves its own story, not just what we're talking about today, but I'm just giving you the nickel version. So basically the Attorney General himself can't really get involved in this. So they have to turn it over to someone who works in his office, because that's who's got to do it. And that guy's got to work completely autonomously throughout the whole thing. And then they come up with a case settlement, right? You think that's it. You think you're good to go, and that's it. Well, turns out no. So the agreement that they ended up doing was basically saying, hey, the gov says, all right, I'll pay for the first class travel, and we're good to go, right? Nothing criminal. You're all right. And that's it. But there was a full-on immunity thing in there that says the Attorney General's office can't go after you for anything else regarding your time while you were in office. That is the thing that got a lot of eyebrows raised. A lot of people saying like, whoa, where's the fish? What do you mean? How do you know? What if you find out something later? You don't even know. How can you give him immunity about everything else throughout his whole thing? Well, that's what the agreement was. So now, after it's all said and done, and then we have a typhoon. Then afterwards, the Attorney General's office is like, oh, this bushy. We can't do that. We got to go back and undo that agreement. And at the very least, you can't give him immunity all the way through to a blanket immunity that covers this whole thing. This is what's being brought forward by the Attorney General's office. They're saying, hey, yeah, that guy who made that agreement, he can't do it. You can't do it. So, by the way, in these documents, which we posted already on on our website, nminewsservice.com, bing, they're saying, hey, look, I get that they wanted to settle that stuff, and that's cool, but you can't give it to them all the way through. You can't. You just can't. So anyhow, so now they are also then turned into disparaging the guy who used to work there, saying, hey, that guy's not even qualified. In fact, let's get to it. Like, they were saying, hey, he doesn't even have any experience. Like, dude, you hired him and you put him in charge. Like, now you're saying that he's not able to do it. Right? Now, you agree or disagree. We're not even talking about the merits of the case yet. Right? But we're going through it. This is all the history. And you can read all of this specifically on the website. It's all there. Now, this is where this guy gets involved. David Karch. You heard about him. You've heard about him because you heard that his contract was not renewed after this, and he was let go. This is going to be the next story we talk about too, funny enough. So September, all of a sudden, he gets a notice of appearance with the court saying that he's the guy for the Attorney General's office. A little over a month later, they got a status hearing, status conference, and they're like, hey, I think we're going to figure this out. And they finally do. And then in March, they said, hey, look, we got this figured out. We have a complete settlement and we're good to go. Well, no. So they go through this whole dance. Hold on, I got to keep rolling through here. We're going to get all the way back there again. It says the court, this is coming from the Attorney General's office, by the way. The Attorney General's office says the court should invalidate that settlement agreement because not only was his decision in effectively dismissing the properly determined criminal charges against him, but more importantly, his decision to shield the former governor from any civil or criminal prosecution, including misuse of public funds or any criminal, civil, administrative wrongdoing, was against the public interest. So now the same office that hired that guy to do that said, hey, you shouldn't do it. Also, they're saying that the guy that they put in charge didn't have the authority to even put that in. Now, you would think that the judge would be the one, I would think, the judge would be the one to call that out. Say, hey, this guy can't do that. Like, so anyway, the Attorney General's office is saying, hey, look, let's talk about this. So they're coming up with precedent. So federal courts have long exercised inherent equitable power to enjoin government officials who exceed their statutory authority. All right, so maybe, right? So, but that's federal court. So they're counting all these federal cases and trying to get them applying to this stuff here. Now, is that going to work? I don't know, but they've got a lot of case law that they list in here that we're skipping over. We're not. This is not a legal analysis on every point by point thing. I would not qualify to do that anyway, even if we did, but it would be fun to read. But anyway, so I mean, like, since at least the mid-19th century, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, wait. Does it say? Okay, the U.S. Supreme Court. Thank goodness. All right, well, anyway, let's keep going. All right, so here's where I like where they get in here. This is where they start already, like, disparaging the guy. As a junior prosecutor with less than 3 years of experience, he was not authorized to dismiss a case in return for just about $24,000. He also lacked authority to give immunity to the defendant. He said he was hired as the AAG, Assistant Attorney General, in June of 23 and handled mostly traffic cases in the criminal division. The position was his first job as an attorney. In less than 3 years of his work over there, he had no bench or jury trial that he conducted, and the only trial experience he had was his presence as a second counsel in a case handled by the special prosecutor, where he was simply an observer. He neither had the experience nor authority to handle cases at a bar on his own without any supervision, and he acted contrary to his supervisor's requests and recommendations. Therefore, when he dismissed the case against the former governor, he gave him immunity against any future prosecution. He acted ultra vires, and the global settlement agreement that he executed should be deemed void and invalid. So what's interesting about this is, doesn't this also look bad on the AG? This is not me talking smack about the AG. You know, I like him. But you're saying, hey, the person that we put in charge was not competent. He wasn't able to do it. That guy shouldn't even be there. And so, like, you would say then, well, why did you put him there? Don't you ask me about why I put him in there. Like, come on, you can't have it both ways. Who's really making the mistakes here? I know, you're right. Robert says laws should be in plain English so our people can easily read and follow along. I agree. And that's why I also agree, like, all the contracts shouldn't be all crazy either. But there you go. But, like, literally, it's like, hey, that guy can't do that stuff. And he was not even qualified to do that. And then they're going to come back and say, if you ask them, well, why'd you do it? He's like, don't ask me. They said he acted outside of his authority and giving immunity to the defendant should be void. Now, that part, all right. I feel like it should have been caught at a higher level. So the judge, I would think, should know if that's something. I feel like if this was Chief Judge Ramona Manglonia, nothing gets past her. Misplaced commas. She's on them. This is at the federal level now. She executes every sentencing or agreement, making sure and on the record that everybody knows every single thing. I don't think that this is the kind of thing that would get past her. But this is not federal court. So either way, I just feel like if they don't have the authority to do something like that, then that's something like you would bring up as a judge. That's my thoughts. Either way, they give more case law saying why it shouldn't happen. And then they talk about what actually happened. The March hearing was very short, lasted no more than 10 or 15 minutes. The judge was very quick to dismiss the case and sign an order of dismissal without making any inquiries. The court should follow the California state laws and invalidate this global settlement because he acted ultra vires. The ultra vires? Ultraman. Basically, he exceeded his ability to do what he was doing in giving immunity to the defendant. And also, I always feel like that's a dig. It's accurate by calling them defendant, but still, I feel like it's a dig. He didn't consult with the supervising prosecutor, and he did not get approval from her to give the immunity, and did not make any request to the court for an order granting immunity. And the court did not make any inquiries about immunity. Yeah, so that makes sense. See, all that seems common sense to me. But because he didn't have the authority to do it, they should invalidate it. I don't know. I don't know. That's going to be for the courts to decide. It's going to be interesting. Now, the other side of this is like the defense side is going to say, hey, we had a deal. You can't go back on this deal. And so we'll see what happens. Is it an illegal contract? Oh, we're going to find out. I mean, that's what this is all going to be. It just seems like a really interesting timing for all this. Of course, because of the election. Anything that comes up about this is going to be talked about in like, oh, it's just political. Yeah. Like, and now this is really interesting too. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this up a little bit further. While the Commonwealth is extremely dissatisfied with Karch's decision to dismiss the criminal charges against defendant Torres, the Commonwealth asked the court only to invalidate the portion of the global civil settlement agreement that provides immunity from any prosecution to him. Invalidating that portion would only be in the interest of judicial economy. Oh, let's take this call real quick. Holidays NT Road, thanks for calling the show. Who's this?
Hey, good morning, Brad. No, this is Ray.
Ray, good morning. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Excuse the background noise if you hear hammering or ding, ding, ding. It was strong contractors here repairing my roof.
Hey, that's great news. That's the sound of progress.
Yes, but I was just listening to what you were saying about the Attorney General. It prompted me to call your broadcast and say this out because I personally have first-hand experience and I know what you're talking about. I have a legal service response already 3 years in the making for him pertaining to my issue. And that issue, everybody knows, me burning the flag. Well, I've proven my point to the point where Now, the latest person that intervened on my behalf last year is the U.S. delegate for the cinema, Congresswoman Kimberly Hines. Now, in that approach, he has again stalled in responding to that matter. That why, like I was saying, the 1985 constitutional amendment to change our nationality is not validated by the covenant agreement. And yet, he is the keeper of the law, the seal and the flag of the ceremony, yet he chose to cross his mouth. So I thought that office is to represent the truth, not to oppress the truth from the lie. But that's what he's doing right now. And with the Attorney General stating that about the governor on another note, he's just leering for me. If I was a judge, I'm just going to say, hey, AG, your office is incompetent then. Is that what you say? That's the word. It's incompetency. And I don't believe that they're incompetent. It's just that they know the difference between right and wrong, the law, which is right, what to represent. But in that approach, they chose not to, especially on the issue I brought forth that it ascertains to every indigenous people here. And that is why I call to just put emphasis on him on the matter that you're bringing up. But thank you.
Yeah, that's great. And, that's a good point. Like, so that's the thing. It's like, you can't have it both ways, right? I mean, that's essentially it. You can't have it both ways. No matter what the issue is, it just doesn't seem right. You got to make a call. Either this works or because trust me, I would want everything to go my way every time. But I hear
and I'm sorry but you know what? Back then, the position for the Attorney General was an appointed position. Then they changed it and made it an elected position. For me personally, that was the bad choice. Why? Because the Senate today or anybody else cannot intervene to put him at his place. We can only howl and say it out like this. But if it was an appointed position, then the Senate can intervene. The committee that appointed any AG to that position, they can intervene. But at this point in time, no, they cannot because he's an elected position. I hope that they're listening in to abolish that and have it back to an appointed position for their interest. Why? Because being an elected position right now, they're seeing it. He's biased. He's politicizing right now.
That's a really good point. But it's okay. So I see it both ways. I totally understand what you're saying, but I remember when they made the move to have an elected AG is because they were trying to depoliticize it, right? They were trying to get it to where like the AG does not simply march to the beat of the governor's drum, whoever the governor is. And so they're like, nope, we want to do this to have less corruption and less influence and all that stuff. And
the other way around, we got more corruption, more.
Yeah. So what do? I don't know, man. I'm just a simple person. Sometimes I think I know what I'm talking about, but I'll tell you with this one, this is a tough one. This is it's a challenge. I'm not sure what the best way is. I do like the idea of having an elected AG because I think that and having that office separate from
Brad, let me put it in perspective.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I agree with that approach if the person looking for that position willing to sit and be non-biased. But what we'll see today is biased and personal and political. If only there was a person that would carry that weight and treat the law as fairly to everybody, the government and the people, yeah, I don't mind that. But what we've experienced in the past for decades and even up to today, that office really is being politicized.
Yeah. I don't have the solution for it. I don't know what the best thing is.
Well, for me, anybody can make a beautiful. If the president can create a beautiful, I call it the beautiful bill, or such a beautiful bill. Well, this legislation sure enough can put a plumeria bill, and make it beautiful. They can be creative. It just needs a lot of thinking how to process it.
Yeah, and if you end up getting in, you have to name one of yours the Ray of Light. That'll be it.
Hey, that is where I get it. Like I was saying that, I don't want to say this by name, but I'm just saying it's up to the people. And it's about time that the people really value the vote of confidence. Where was the last time a candidate or person willing to walk his or her talk on behalf of the people to carry that weight? I believe I put my name already out on my personal life out there on social media to the point where I believe I've rooted. And that is why even what I've been saying about the covenant prior to the 902, now it's being echoed by members of the legislature, what I've been saying. So literally, I can just say, I hope that the people will value their vote of confidence and put somebody there, and anybody besides me that they know that is willing to carry the weight of that word vote of confidence on their back to properly represent them. And I believe I speak highly that I can. I've been doing it. I'm doing it right now. So what they're stopping is just that imagine if the people really endorse that power of their vote of confidence and give me that opportunity. Like I was saying, you got nothing to lose for me, but a lot to gain. Why? I brought up even something that nobody wants, a very sensitive, but I've been labeled racist, hatred. No. Like I said, I do not hate the other community. Why? I have children of Carolinian blood or Lupano from their late mother. So what I'm bringing out is nothing of racism. It is something of written in our language of the law that is not right. It's wrong, and it's being recognized today. I believe I put my life on this to put years of research and years of talking to the point where I really believe I amplify the word willing to serve people, but it's up to the people.
Well,
hopefully I get it.
Yeah, we got time. We'll find out. Hey, I'll tell you what, I want to get back onto this one. And
thank you for the time, because I know that the background you can't barely hear me, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk. And I hope the AG gets this act straight of the entire issue pertaining to whatever. But hey, it's up to the people, right?
Yep. Hey,
well, half a day back.
And I'm glad you're getting your roof done. That's awesome.
I know. I'm me too. But thank you. Half a day.
Take care. All right. That was Ray calling in, giving us his 2 cents while he's getting his roof done as part of the Strong program. That's great. All right. So get back to this. Here we are. We're back in here. All right. So basically now going over this, it says, while the Commonwealth is extremely dissatisfied with it, we only want to go after the part about the immunity. Invalidating that portion only would be in the interest of judicial economy because it saves the court's resources and public funds. Should the court exercise its discretion, invalidate the agreement in its entirety and reopen the cases, the Commonwealth is prepared to litigate. So basically they're like, look, the part that we like least is the full-on immunity. If you just scrap that, we'll take it. But I don't know, can you just line item veto settlement things? I feel like they're asking for the whole thing. Then here's the other part. They're like, hey, in addition, by the way, while we believe this guy committed professional misconduct and his action amounts to an ethical violation, the Commonwealth doesn't ask to determine whether you guys do all that stuff too. So basically, wait a minute. If you're going to say this guy committed professional misconduct and it's an ethical violation, you're just going to let that slide? Like, come on, man. Can you not have it both ways? Like, first of all, you can, like, it just seems like you're defaming somebody. If you really believe that, you got to go forward with something about that, don't you? Like, otherwise, you're like, hey, I don't mean anything personal by it, but that guy's an effing jerk. Like, you can't. I said with all due respect, you know, like, that doesn't count that way. You can't lop. Hey, I don't have any. By the way, like, I know we're both Holly guys, but I don't really know him. You know, like, I've met him before, but I don't really know the guy. I never had a beer with him. I can tell you that. So it's not like I'm just picking up for this guy. But looking at the whole picture, right? One, and not even getting into the merits of the case itself, with the governor and the former governor and everything. The main thing on it, to me, is, like, if you're gonna say the guy that we appointed to this shouldn't have done it, and he didn't have the authorization to do it, doesn't May 29th seem like a little bit too late to go back? Shouldn't that be like the same day that came out? I know. Yeah, I know. Like, and by the way, I don't think it rises to the level of misconduct, but I mean, like, if that's somebody who's working for you, you should know what's going on with their calendar, right? And what case they're working on, especially if it's like the most important thing that you're doing, right? I mean, like, you should know. I think it's probably, like, clearly, like, again, this is not saying I agree, disagree, anything. Like, we're not talking about the specifics of the case or anything, right? But it seems like an administrative screw up by folks in an office that all of a sudden you're saying, like, oh, we had this rogue employee who went off and did this thing that they weren't authorized to do, so we got to pull that back. All right, but then don't you need to go after that rogue employee? Like if what they did was so heinous, you're just going to let them slide? No, then obviously it must not have been that big of a deal. It's like, you can't just talk tough about what and disparage that guy if you're not going to do something about it. You're just throwing a bucket of mud on somebody for no reason. Or if you really think the guy was like that, you at least got to do something at the bar level, don't you? So what is it? And if you remember Paul Harvey, and now the rest of the story. Because there's like a part 2 to this too. And the part 2 is kind of crazy. Okay, you might call it crazy, you might call it weird, you might call it coincidence. Yeah, you call it whatever you want. You want to talk about connections and all that other stuff and who's with who and all that other stuff. Well, then that guy, let me find it, make sure I have the right file. I mean, I have it, so I'll make sure I have it ready to pop up on the screen. I thought it was. Bum, bum, bum. Hold on. By the way, finding a good photo of him online is not great. The photo that's there on his LinkedIn is like, that's not recent. By the way, I need to update mine too, so I can't give him a whole bunch of garbage for it. But where is it? Come on, man. I have it. Well, anyway, let me find it in another screen here because I know I have it. Ooh. I love that. Just came in on WhatsApp. That is good. Like, I want to read it. This, I'm just going to quote it, not saying anyone who sent it to me. You could be as dumb as a rock with no educational background whatsoever other than work experience and run for whatever seat in the House and still win. I love it. That's great. All right. So when I save this, what am I saving this as? And this comes in. Okay. That's it. So let's open this up here on the big screen so you guys can see it too. Should pop up over there. So this is what raised some eyebrows yesterday. Let's open this up, maximize it. And why? So this is what raised eyebrows yesterday when this started getting around. Word from the Legislative Bureau that the guy who's now just being besmirched has been hired at another level to give legal advice to folks for the Senate. Whoa, we're going to connect some dots on that one too. Right? So they're like, hey, this guy who the AG's office just said, went way outside of his authority, unethical. Now is the Senate Legal Counsel starting June 16th. So they're like, hey, we're bringing him in and we're going to make some reassignments here. So why is that interesting? Well, I mean, it is pretty clear that the Senate is GOP, right? It's not a big party issue, but only like it's definitely the power of the Senate goes through the Republican Party. And a lot of that is rooted in the folks over there in Tinian, right? They're the ones who kind of held it together. They're the solid Tinian block of GOP. Then got other folks who started been leaning that way anyway. And so that party was made with the folks, or that agreement with David Karch and the former governor was made through that group, like people who are on that team, if you will. And so now they're like, oh yeah, let's hire him over here. Oh man, let's make him our guy. So now, interesting. Man, I'll tell you, Senate and GOP, there's some strong mofos. They got it going. Like I'm telling you, Tinian, if you are with the GOP here in the CNMI, I know Tinian always talks about not getting all the respect and not getting all of the equity for things that come to the CNMI and stuff like that. I'll tell you what, the CNMI GOP owes its success to Tinian, because in the last couple of elections, when people were breaking away and doing their own thing, Tinian held it together. Tinian, I'm telling you, Tinian, they are the ones holding it together. And then they started being like, hey, Rhoda, let's get this thing going. And that's where Lieutenant Governor came from, over there on the Rhoda side. And then they ended up getting the power. They ended up taking over the Senate. When everything else flipped, Tinian holding it together got everybody back together. I don't like the way they do it all the time, because there's people there who are elected who don't say anything because they want to make sure they don't run afoul of their whole team. But that's just me. But clearly it's a model for success for them. Right? Well, anyway, that team now has their guy who made that agreement as their legal counsel for the Senate. Oh, man, it's like the best sitcom. Like, this is the best legal drama TV ever. They can't make TV this good. Nobody in the mainland is entertained like this. This is good stuff, only it's real and it's good. Like, and by the way, just sitting back, eating popcorn and watching this stuff unfold, it is like being able to live in a history book, because people are going to look back at all this stuff. Like, scholars are going to look back CNMI scholars to see like what's transpired here in the last, well, here, let's just do the last 50 years. We've been 50 years of Commonwealth this year. Oh, it's so interesting. It is. And then learning all the backstory stuff and like who's with who and how these relationships work and how people are connected. It is so interesting. Dang it, we live in the coolest place. I'm telling you, it's awesome. Anyway, that's it. So there you go. That's the part 2 of that story. Robert, I know I want to say you're skipping ahead earlier in the comments when you're like, but now he's the Senate legal counsel. I'm like, oh, hey, don't, that's a spoiler alert. Anyway, all of this stuff with just these 2 stories is to say that those are just 2 of them. So conspiracy people are there. They're like, oh, all those things, blah, blah, blah. I know. But look, it comes down to it. You can't talk smack about that guy unless you're actually going to do something about him. It's not fair to say all these other things if you're not actually going after him too. Right? Then, otherwise, it's just talk. You can't just talk about someone being a bad person if you're in a position to prosecute somebody who's a bad person and you're not going to do anything about it. You can't go half in. And it's cheap to call someone names and make accusations and not do anything about it if you're in a position of authority to do something about it. Just my take. I'm not defending that guy. Don't get it twisted. Don't say, Brad, you're out. No. I'm not defending the guy. I'm not defending anything, but I'm just telling you, like, you can't just throw around accusations like that if you're not going to do anything about it. It just seems like it's disingenuous for you to do that. Disingenuous, our word of the day. It just doesn't seem fair. Like, either if you can't say the guy, even though you believe he committed professional misconduct and his actions amount to an ethical violation, that's it. At the end of their whole document, they're going Larry David. In addition to we believe that he committed professional misconduct and his actions amounts to an ethical violation. You can't. You can't. You can't do that. Sucks. I mean, that's it. They Larry Davided the end of it. There you go, Larry David. Now you are now a verb. Yeah, it just doesn't seem fair to do all that stuff. So we're going to see what happens. Going to a completely different topic on this, because this is like years in the making, going all the way back to like all this stuff really started becoming a big deal, I think in 2022. But back then, I think that the House, when they were doing their JGO committee, they could have really done something with the governor's office about spending and all this other stuff. I agree. But like their focus on this part was on travel and the governor using first class travel. That's what this whole thing is all about. And the first lady using this travel. Now, there were some abuses I think were in there, but that was about some of the travel back and forth to Guam with the boat and getting around. I thought was purposefully getting around the customs and all that other stuff. But that's a different story. Having separate rooms. Yeah, like all that stuff I thought was in a spending that was crazy. That's a longer story. But I'll tell you what, and I would change the laws here locally for sure. Because I think that if your governor is flying to the mainland for meetings, governor should be flying business, should be flying first class, should not be stuck in a middle seat in coach, not because His Highness deserves it or Her Highness, whoever it may be, but if we are sending our most senior elected official, our executive branch, our head of state, to meet with folks in the mainland for stuff, it's not because they're going to exchange like recipes on a nice peach cobbler. They're going to talk about like 902 talks and the future of the Commonwealth and where we're going to go from there. I want my governor rested and ready to go, as relaxed as possible. I'm not saying you get someone out of jail to be his masseuse on the flight and then bring him back into custody after. But I'm saying that you should give your governor the best shot of representing the Commonwealth. I think those kind of trips should be business class. Now, that little hop to Guam, no, I don't really think so. But I mean, like, I would say that it's cool for me to have the people that we are sending to negotiate on behalf of the Commonwealth be as good as they can to do all that stuff. Juan says, no way, make him write economy. No, I know, but it's not like he's just going for like a trip, like for a convention or something like that, where he's going to sit there. No, like if you got the governor going to meet with the president, if you got the governor going to have like high level stuff, he can get one extra pack of peanuts. That's awesome. No, but I'm like, it makes sense to me that you would want to have them. It's not for extravagance. It's not because it's a perk that you get with the job. It's because you're setting that person up for success when they have that meeting. That's my take on that, for sure. But like someone who's going to a convention to just sit with some coconuts and stuff like that, I don't think it's a great idea. But again, high level meetings and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. Now, does that mean the first lady's got to go? No, I don't think the first lady has to go to any of those kind of things. If the president of the United States was going to meet with the governor and it's going to be one of those kind of things where they get to meet each other, I guess maybe. But like for all the other official travel, no. I don't know what the real rule is, but I would leave that to the rest of the Commonwealth to figure out. And, but if the governor is going somewhere, the first lady doesn't need to go unless it's like one of those official engagements. If it's yeah, there are some that I think that could, like, if it was going to be meeting the president and the first lady for something, yeah, I think that'd be great. But just cause isn't an excuse. Do I think that if they both fly, that they should get separate rooms at the hotels in Guam? No, not at all. No, I think that's it. Yeah, Brad, tell you a secret. This is from Juan. 90% of work travel includes a side trip and sightseeing. Hey, by the way, I'm okay with that, because if you take a government-funded trip to like just pick a city in the States, say Philadelphia, out of the blue, right? If you're going to Philadelphia and the CNMI is only paying for you to go to work trip to Philadelphia and back, then that's cool. If you build off of that, I'm cool with that, as long as the CNMI is not paying for it. CNMI is not paying extra for your rooms, your flights, your cars, or any of that stuff. No, that's cool. I think that's great. I think it's outstanding. And I think you should take advantage of that. Yeah, I don't think that's a terrible thing. I mean, I would, as long as because as long as there's no extra expense to the folks of the Commonwealth, I don't think it's a bad deal. I'm with you on it. But I do like that he can get one extra bag of peanuts. That's funny. That is funny. All right. You ready for story number 3? That's all connected to all this fun stuff. All this rigmarole, the power of Tinian, the GOP, and all this other stuff. Well, here we go. The other part is now the folks from the Senate are like, oh, yeah, we're feeling it. Let's do it. Hey, remember when acting governor cut loose the commissioner and Epi? Yeah. We're not done with that. No, they are not done with it. And that is interesting for sure. So now it's happening again, where this is becoming another part of the story. Paul Harvey. Now the rest of the story. So there it is. By the way, we posted this yesterday on the website and the socials. NMINewsService.com. Can't forget it. So Senate challenges the legal basis for Marianas' return to DPS. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because now they're going to have their counsel on their side to do all this stuff. Their handpicked counsel to come in there and start banging the drum against the governor's office, saying, hey, remember when Lieutenant Governor became acting governor and said, Epi, you fired. Commissioner Marianas, you fired. Remember when he did that? Well, Senate President saying, hey, I don't think you could do that. Like, that's not something you're able to do. Like, they got terminated. You can't rescind the termination, and you didn't give us a good legal authority on it. If you did, you got to let us know. So now they're going after this. So here's the story that we got. Senate President Carl King Neighbors has formally questioned the legal basis for the return of Anthony Marianas to his post as Commissioner of the Department of Public Safety, arguing that the move required the Senate's advice and consent, and that the administration has not provided the legal authority for bypassing it. He sent a letter and said, hey, Gov, let us know what's going on. He said, the question is institutional and not directed at the commissioner personally. He said the letter concerns whether the executive branch may return a person to an advice and consent office after the vacancy without submitting that appointment to the Senate, and whether the official acts taken by a constitutionally designated acting governor are legally effective when issued. So that's the big deal. Did the lieutenant governor, when he was acting governor, have the authority to do it? Yes, he did. But are they 100% binding if all of a sudden dad comes back home and says, hey, no, forget that. Forget what he said. We're pulling that back. Then, because that's what happened. Dad came home. He's like, no. That's it. I mean, yeah. My son was running the business when I was gone. When I came back, I didn't like it. So forget all that stuff that he said. We'll just put everybody back. That's how it went down. Tell me I'm wrong, please. I'll take it. But that's essentially what happened. It was pretty funny. Anyhow, so what happens there? So anyway, that's the story. So the Senate's position, as set out in the letter, is that Mendiola's termination order was legally effective when issued. The Senate president cited Article 3, Section 8A of the NMI Constitution, which provides that the lieutenant governor shall be acting governor when the governor is physically absent from the Commonwealth, and said the Constitution does not limit an acting governor to ceremonial or emergency duties or making an acting governor's official acts subject to later ratification. Now, the reason why this is a thing is because the Commissioner of Public Safety is not just some appointed position. You got to go through the confirmation process at the Senate. Senate confirms them, then they're able to do it. And they said, hey, if that termination order was really effective, then they got to renominate him and go from scratch again, right? Well, when we interviewed the governor after all that stuff happened, he's like, no, we just did it. It's fine. We just rescinded it, and that's it. So they don't have the legal basis, and that's what the Senate is saying. The Senate is saying that they don't have the legal basis, and they said, okay, well, but if you do, we don't know what it is, so can you let us know? And the reason why they're asking is because if it ends up being determined, or if they end up coming up with, hey, here's the legal basis for us doing this, then they're going to put their guys to work trying to unravel that legal basis and then challenge it. By the way, here with 6 months left in the final term, for Governor Apatang, who's not running again. He said he's retiring from public office, period, at the end of all this stuff. So rather than wait on the next 6 months, they're going for this one. I get it. It's more procedural. Can you put someone back there? Because they're saying, hey, if you can't give us the legal basis for this, then we're going to have to file a certified question to find out, hey, how much authority do we have as a Senate? You know, for these kind of positions, there's a reason why we have this. So what are we doing? So they're going to file a certified question and have the courts decide on, hey, was that kosher or not? Procedural. There you go. Doesn't seem terrible. And they're not coasting. You know, they're going through and doing what they want to do, doing what they got to do. I wonder where this all came from, though. Why they're banging that drum for him so hard. Like, who did he tick off exactly? There's a reason behind all of it, right? I mean, somewhere there's a root cause to this. And it seems like a disrespect then coming from the lieutenant governor's side. Like, hey, we're not showing up to, when I call you for a meeting, you got to show up. And by the way, that's my question. What is the role of the lieutenant governor other than if something happens to the governor to take over? Because it seems pretty, it's a cool title, but is it like a real thing? I know, like, this is not knocking any person who's lieutenant governor, because it's friggin' awesome to be saying that you're the lieutenant governor of somewhere. Here, CNMI lieutenant governor role. Let's just see what it comes up as. And I'm not looking for, hold on. I'm not looking for the AI answer. I want to hear CNMI law. Duties, it's right there. This is not very big. Were we looking at the same thing? This is this is what's listed for the governor's lieutenant governor's position. Yeah, not a whole lot there. Right? Let me see if there's something more that we could find on here. I know, second highest ranking position. Let's just keep looking. I want to see roles and respond. Let's just see what we got. No, get out of here. Not interested in your AI mode. Scram. That's it. You're serious. Come on. There's got to be more to it. This is the legislature. Okay, let's see if there's something else on there. No, that's a citizen-centric report. That just says who's there. Same thing, just says who's there. There's not a whole lot there. Like, that's the thing. Like, your lieutenant governor is your guy who's like there for you, your partner in crime. Yeah, something bad happens to you, that's your guy, right? Is this? Oh, that's under the public auditors thing. That's the citizen-centric, right? Yeah. This is the citizen-centric report from the Office of the Lieutenant Governor. It says, and this is, just something that we found online. The office of the lieutenant governor is an elected office vested within the executive branch and established, blah, blah, blah. As lieutenant governor, he oversees the Office of Planning and Development, the Office of Grants Management, and the CNMI's permitting agency, and leads policy initiatives on government efficiency, business permitting processes, and regulatory functions. The office also plays an active role in the CNMI's relationship with the federal government and discussions on labor viability and proposed military projects. Now, but that's not this. So what exactly is provided by law or assigned by governor? Now, we know about the Juan. Sorry, I just saw it. Said you should ask what the job of associate commissioner for education does too, or any vice or secondary position. No, I know. You're right. But in particular, like, this is it. It's like you're picking up the governor's light work. Now, if I was the governor of the CNMI, first of all, it would be terrible and not possible. But I have found out I am NMD, non-Marianas descent. So no, still that wouldn't count. I wouldn't be able to do it. But either way, the governor could probably assign the lieutenant governor all kinds of things. And that would be great. And that's what I would do, for sure. But, man, how old is this? This was posted in March of 26. Jeez. And that's the most current stuff. Anyway, so I don't know. This whole thing is going to come down to that. It's going to come down to what was the legal basis for reinstating him? Were you able to let him go? And so the other question I would have, does the governor, let's just take the lieutenant governor out of the equation for this, right? Let's just talk about the policies of the law. This would be a great legal question. And this is probably what they're asking about in the first place. If the governor was having a bad day and just said, you're fired, just said it to somebody, said you're out in one of these same positions, then has a Snickers bar, gets his sugar back up and everything, and is like, oh, you know what? This was a bad idea. All right, hey, I rescind my termination agreement. Is that good enough? Would that count? Would that work? Specifically for one of these advice and consent positions. Because if it would work, first of all, that would be not great to have somebody who would be that trigger happy. But if they ended up doing that, could you just rescind what you did like last week? That's essentially what this is, right? Can the governor fire somebody and say, my bad, and not just anybody? Advice and consent position. A cabinet official, for instance. If all of a sudden the governor is like, Ray Humo, you're fired, then says, you know what, Ray, my bad. You're back. Come on, bring it back in. There we go, buddy. I love you. All right, if that happened within like a week's time, would that have to go through the Senate? And I think that's what your Senate president's asking for. He's like, hey, let's get some clarification on this. I know that they also probably just want to be like, hey, he did what he did. Let's let it ride. But all these little scraps, all these little things that distract us from like the bigger stuff. You know, I know you could do more than one thing at the same time. It feels like, you know, we're spinning our wheels over like personal stuff. Well, man, we got a lot of stuff happening. Anyway, that's the TV show called Life Here in the CNY, and it's awesome. I love it. It's nothing boring about this stuff. He said you should interview the employees that work under them, and if awkward, when their bosses returned. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Also, they also wouldn't want to say anything. They probably like their jobs. All right. There was a fourth one. So we got the governor. They're trying to get them out. And then the rehiring of the AG that they're saying was terrible, but we're not going to do anything about it. And then the gov and the Senate talking about the who's got the power when it comes to terminating folks and all that other stuff. Then there's a couple other ones. The governor ended up putting in this thing asking the legislature for a little bit of love. He's like, hey, I got to give some people some money. You can't like roll back their money if I gave them a job. So like people who were given the exception for the salaries and stuff like that, I can't like, hey, we already gave them that raise, that salary exemption and stuff like that. You can't take it back now halfway through. You got to give me the ability to deal with all this stuff. Even if we got less money coming on. But then the other thing is that the governor was also asking for a salary exemption for someone else. But I don't know. We've been rolling on for a little bit. So we're going to not get into all that fun stuff today. And there's so much other stuff we can talk about today. Hold on. Let me just see. Yeah, because I really was going to wrap up, call it a show. Man. Well, those are the big heavies going on right now. Another story that's developing is the people who are leaving Saipan now. A lot of people are leaving. Not just Saipan, probably Tinian and Rhoda as well, but specifically because of what's going on after this storm. And it's become the tipping point for a lot of folks who are like, you know what? I think I'm done with all of it. They're not as entertained by all the other stuff we've been talking about earlier in the show. They're more interested in having power and water and all that other stuff and not having to deal with this every so many years. Man, I get you. And it's hard. Well, we're going to end up talking to some of those folks. Some of those folks are going to want to be on the record. Some of those folks are going to want to be anonymous, and that's fine too. But that's one of the thing about like why are people leaving? We always see people come and go here, for sure. And I can't blame anyone for leaving. I can't. And I won't even guilt them into it. Why are you quitting on the Commonwealth, man? I can't, because I understand it. I understand it. I totally get it. But I can't, like, I don't want to be that guy because I love this place. It's not, and by the way, that doesn't mean they don't love it when they leave. Like, with all of its flaws and all of its challenges and stuff like that, this is worth sticking around for. This is just me. Everybody's got their own take on it, but for me, this is a place worth fighting for. It's a community. I think you have to go around and see the world for yourself. And I've seen enough of it to know that this is the place that's worth it. This is the place that's, I don't know, fixable is not the right word, but I mean, like, if there's certain conditions that aren't always favorable are fixable, right? Because it's the right size. There's the right amount of people. There's the, I know we lose people to other places. There's more money in other places and all that other stuff. But this is the place worth staying in and working on and watching it, because you can actually see the success happen. You can see all the folks who are graduating and doing good things when they stick around too, or when they come back home. This is all right. I'm going to be sad to see some more friends who are leaving. But we're going to hold the fort till you come back, because one day you probably will. Yeah, Juan says, very tough for CW workers now. It's not going to get easier. CW ends in 2029. My gosh. No, that's it. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up. Let me see if I got another update. I know I do. By the way, it's this drink. My gosh. The pepper's in it, killing me. You can inhale it before you take that sip. And that's what gets you. All right, well, let's do this. Here's the latest news. We do have a new news update from the Associated Press. So let's roll with that. Here you go.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The Trump administration's scrapping the nearly $1.8 billion fund to compensate allies of President Trump Ed Donahue has the latest.
Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche told a House committee,
"We are not moving forward with the fund, period."
New York Democrat Grace Meng asked,
"Not moving forward ever?"
"Correct."
Oh.
The administration had said the fund was essential to make up for what officials insist was weaponized law enforcement during the Biden administration. Blanche said the Justice Department was not abandoning part of a settlement with the IRS that gave President Trump and his family immunity from tax audits. Connecticut Democrat Rosa DeLauro says it adds up to about $100 million.
We are going to forever barred and precluded from examining or prosecuting the president, his sons, and the Trump organization's current tax filings.
The president sued the IRS over leaked tax returns. Ed Donahue, Washington.
President Trump has named Federal Housing Finance Director Bill Pulte as acting director of national intelligence. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer.
At a time of growing threats around the world, Trump's choice makes one thing clear. He's not looking for independent intelligence. He's looking for political validation.
But Senator Rick Scott, a Florida Republican, says,
if you look at most of these jobs, it's always helpful to have background, but it's also, you want people that are good at process, because a lot of this is organizing things. So I think he'll do a good job.
Israeli drone strikes on southern Lebanon killed 11 people today, a day after President Trump said Israel and Hezbollah had agreed to reduce fighting. Iran has insisted that the fighting in Lebanon be part of the wider ceasefire talks with the U.S., and two semi-official Iranian news agencies now report Tehran has stopped communicating with mediators. Oil prices rose today, Brent crude settling at $96 per barrel. This is AP News. In hockey, the NHL's Stanley Cup Final gets underway in Raleigh, North Carolina this evening. Gethin Coolbaugh has a preview of this best-of-7 series.
This year's Stanley Cup Final between the Vegas Golden Knights and Carolina Hurricanes is nearly a decade in the making for each franchise. Vegas has only been around for 9 years, but this is a third trip to the final, 3 years removed from hoisting the cup in 2023. Carolina has been building to this moment in the 8 seasons Rod Brind'Amour has been coach, but had never gotten past the third round. The Golden Knights benefited from a late-season coaching change after replacing Bruce Cassidy with John Tortorella. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
As for basketball, Game 1 of the NBA Finals is tomorrow night in San Antonio, where the Spurs will host the New York Knicks. There's more news and the latest developments at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
Fox Sports Update.
We're down to the final 2 teams in the NHL playoffs. Who will hoist the Stanley Cup? Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Vegas Golden Knights at the Lenovo Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Hurricanes making their first final appearance since 2006 when they won their only Stanley Cup. Rod Brind'Amour was the captain for that team and has been their head coach since 2018. The team has made playoff appearances in every season in his tenure, but now they finally have a conference title to show for it. But Brind'Amour says the only thing that matters is winning the cup.
I don't think we have broken through. You know what I mean? Like it's we got to win. So I know everyone makes a lot about getting this far, but nobody's going to remember who comes second.
The Canes have been dominant, only losing 1 game this postseason so far. And then there's Vegas. A little over 2 months ago, John Tortorella was a TV analyst. But when the Knights fired Bruce Cassidy, Tortorella was brought in to hopefully reset the culture. But Tort says all he had to do was get the players to believe again.
This team knows how to play. We change, just subtle little changes here and there. But to me, it was a mindset.
And it worked. Vegas has gone 12-4 this postseason, winning their last 6 games, which include a sweep of the President's Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche in the conference finals. They will look for their second Stanley Cup in their 9-year history. Other hockey news breaking today, Columbus Blue Jackets defenseman Zach Werenski has won the Norris Trophy, beating out Cale Makar of the Colorado Avalanche and Rasmus Dahlin of the Buffalo Sabres as the league's top defenseman. The 28-year-old had 81 points this season, which was the second most points by a defenseman this year. For more scores, stories, and features, go to foxsports.com. I'm Tony Genualdo.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
After Super Typhoon Sinlaku, recovery isn't just about rebuilding homes and clearing debris. It's about taking care of each other. It's normal to feel stress, fear, or sadness during recovery. Healing isn't a straight path. Take it one day at a time. Acknowledge your feelings. Stay connected with family and neighbors. Build small daily routines. And if it gets overwhelming, reach out. Seeking support is a sign of strength. NM Posse's PIME program is here for CNMI residents. Call 670-235-7273 or 670-789-6021 or visit nmposse.org. Together we rebuild, and together we heal. You are stronger than the storm. Message from NM Posse's PIME program, paid for by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. If you see something, say something, and stay anonymous. Call Crime Stoppers at 234-7272 or submit a tip online at nmicrimestoppers.com. No names, no caller ID, no recordings, just your info. And if your tip leads to an arrest, you could earn up to $1,000 in cash. Your tips have helped take hundreds of criminals off the streets in the NMI. It works because of you. Crime Stoppers, we want your information, not your name. PHI is your local pharmacy serving customers in Cagman, Garapan, and Dandan since 1996. Shop PHI Pharmacy for all your prescriptions, and we even offer a large line of multivitamin supplements. Our Dandan location is open weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 4 on weekends. Or visit our Garapan and Cagman locations weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 1 on Saturdays. Check us out online at phipharmacy.com or follow us on Facebook. PHI is a locally owned independent community Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care. All right, Marianas, it is 9:39 in the morning. That's going to wrap us up for today. I think we're going to end up being traditionally way much longer. I want to say thanks to you guys for tuning in. Our guest today that was going to be in studio ended up getting a flat tire. So they're going to be back in tomorrow morning. We're going to have the head of Homeland Security Emergency Management, Clement Bermudez, is going to join us tomorrow, 8 a.m. And it'll be awesome. All right, you guys have a great day today. We're going to be out of here. We'll see you again tomorrow morning for your next edition of Good Morning Marianas. Take care. See you tomorrow.